So the questions are very different. They are not based, they're not only based on the fact mentioned, but on your ability to use the text information to make projections. Okay? To think.
But not everybody has this ability.
Well, then you have to develop it if you want to. All these are learnable and teachable. So if you are really interested, you just learn how to work with particular type of a question and you practice it. There is nothing impossible in the world. Okay, so this is the history. As for now, you can take still TOEFL internet-based test, which is the most widespread. You can still take paper-based. In the countries where they do not have internet, there are paper-based. It seems to me we do not have paper-based in Ukraine anymore. And there is also computer-based, which is also going to disappear soon, because you typed everything on the computer, but they saved it and then they send it. Well, with internet, computer-based becomes just, it's not needed anymore. So right now you can take TOEFL IBT internet-based, and in some locations paper-based, and they are talking about eliminating computer-based at all. But we are not concerned. We are happy we have IBT, and that's okay for us. Okay, so now I will be talking more about TOEFL IBT internet-based. Okay, and I will start with the very first questions: how it was developed, who developed it, how and why it was developed the way it is now. Okay? So here's being talked about that. So again, the TOEFL test is developed and supported by a world-class team of test developers, educational measurement specialists, statisticians, and researchers. 4 groups of people are working on the test. It's not that I came down and put it. No. It's all done by professionals. The test developers have advanced degrees, meaning masters or PhDs, in such fields as English, language education, and linguistics. So they are all serious. Okay, now we will be talking about TOEFL IBT. So TOEFL IBT, as I said, was first launched in 2005. And 2 main peculiarities of the test are that it reflects real-world academic environment. What it means? Everything you see in the test was sometimes spoken or written by a real person. No one sits and writes a question from his or her head. No, they take all the materials from real world, from magazine, books, audio recordings, video recordings. It all exists in real world. And then TOEFL IBT tests multiple language skills, as we were just talking about, so your receptive and productive modalities. Well, I think that the natural question is, where did they take this real world academic data? Very interesting. In 2000s, early 2000s, in the US, there were many universities working on creating corpora. Corpora is a big, I would say, selection, just a big body of certain information. For example, there is a corpora of the University of Michigan, which comprises over 100 audio recorded lectures and regular classes. So they have this huge, amount of recordings from real lectures and group works and lab classes. Then they transcribe everything. So it's not only that you can listen to it, you can read it. Universities comprise such corpora, and then ETS buys this access to this corpora. And they learn and they study all this corpora and select the text they are going to use in the TOEFL IBT. So TOEFL IBT was designed in 2005 not by an accident. At the same time, as I said, in the US, there were huge corporas, not only audio, also video, and also, the first corpora were created of written text. All of a sudden, you can access all the text from New York Times, from textbooks on biology, chemistry, all possible information. And again, ETS buys access to all this corpora. So universities design them, ETS buys access, and they again select. So it's not accidental, as I said. That's why they are very proud, and they talk about this all the time. They do use real world pieces. That's very important. Well, you would say why? Well, if you remember from your school or some, maybe not nowadays, maybe earlier, very often texts were written by a person. A dialogue. How are you today? Oh, I'm fine. And you? Yes, I'm fine too. Well, and that's it. Is it really all the dialogue in real life? What do you do after that? You say bye to a person? What else? Such a dialogue which you could see in the textbook did not reflect the real life. Because if you say hi to a person, well, you have to at least say bye or something else. So such method of just sitting and writing down was criticized in the US. And because they had a lot of universities, a lot of professors, they could design this corpora, which later was just access was bought by ETS. Yes,
but this creates a real problem because they use the idioms, they are really life.
Yeah.
It's like I read in it creates a very big problem for foreigners who study correct, normal, standard English.
Yes.
The users use the idioms. It's for example like a foreigner study Russian. There are our expressions they cannot understand absolutely. But how the team of scientists propose to decide if it's necessary to memorize this idiom, because to understand all the expression they use the real American student, American people, American slang. It's very difficult. It's necessary to live in the country, to be inside. My question is yes, of course, it's really necessary to understand the real American English, but if it's not excessive users of these idioms.
Well, very interesting question, and again, I want to emphasize, the tests your ability to use the language. You don't have to know all the idioms used, all the expressions. They leave enough room for a person to understand what the text is about, not only from particular words, but from the whole text. And this is the most important, your ability to work with the text, not with the separate words. That's why, yes, they do give you enough room to figure out, is it a negative conversation, a positive, is it an introduction, is it just the ending of the lecture. You always can understand that. And this understanding of the situation, of the context, is what is tested. So yes, you do have to know certain idioms, you have to have certain vocabulary, but at the same time, using the correct strategies, you are able to get good scores without knowing and without living in the US. So this methodology where they use corpora is called evidence-centered design methodology. And you can see it there. So it means that they do use evidence to design the test. Okay. So now I wanted to show you something else, which is also very important for us. I wanted to pay your attention to the most important thing, meaning what TOEFL is and what does it test. Here, it's in yellow. I don't know. Can you see it in yellow?
Yes.
I will maybe.
No.
Fine. Okay. So read this very attentively. The purpose of the TOEFL IBT test is to evaluate the English proficiency of people whose native language is not English. The TOEFL IBT scores are primarily used as a measure of the ability of international students to use English in an academic environment. I want to emphasize it's for academic environment. That's why if you're going to work for business, they might not require TOEFL, but some other test. To quote the original TOEFL framework document, the purpose of the test will be to measure the communicative language ability of people whose first language is not English. The test will measure examinees' English language proficiency in situations and tasks reflective of university life, where instruction is conducted in English. This is the most important you have to remember. The purpose of the test is to evaluate your ability to function in an academic setting in the US or any other land or any other country where the instruction is in English. Okay? So if you are going to go to the US and then hop up, maybe you don't need to pass TOEFL. Yes?
Can you explain one more time what is academic environment?
It's university, college, university, schools. It's where you go to study.
And that's it.
Well, TOEFL, very often TOEFL scores are recognized by many institutions, but primarily it is designed for university setting. So you would have abstracts not from news, but from lectures. You would read pieces of text from textbooks, not from some magazines. Okay, so the text would be selected based on academic settings of US or any other country where the instruction is in English. Yes? Yes?
If I understand, if I mistake, the TOEFL is a level, it's the most level than the EELs and other. There's the TOEFL test.
Yes.
Is recognized like the
Yes.
high level of knowledge.
Yes, you have to have
Between all the tests, the TOEFL.
No, it's not the highest. It's just that it's a very specific test, only for checking your ability to study in English.
Only to study.
Mostly to study. Yes, it says reflective of university life, and it is designed to test how well international students can do in a college where instruction is in English.
But if, for example, I am an old person, it's not possible. Yes, it's possible, but it's not really. But if I have not the chance to study in the United States, I need the for work. I would like one day maybe work for a foreign company.
Yes, but then you have to ask your company if they will take TOEFL scores. If they say no, we don't work with TOEFL, then ask them, what test do I need to take to be able to work for you? Okay? TOEFL is the most recognized. It's like everyone knows it. That's why it's easy. But for specific company, before going and paying $200, ask, will you take my TOEFL scores, please? And if they say no, then say, oh, okay, what do I need to take? Tell me right now. Okay, yes.
Is TOEFL recognized in Great Britain?
Yes, we will talk about that later. Yes.
Doesn't mean that I would have to recognize all my